Hello people and welcome to advanced or pro tips, if you would, for Evolve. I've been dying to do this for a long time. Just things that you should and shouldn't do or should and should know about Evolve. Um, so I'm going to be running through all the characters one by one. I'm going to do them individually just to see, just to tell you what you should do or which monsters you should use them on as the monsters come out, and I will be doing the same thing for the monsters. So, this is just going to be pro tips for not any individual class right now. This is just going to be pro tips for you to use, Jetpack, how to track the monsters, stuff like that. They're basically pro tips that you should know before even getting into using a character. The first thing I want to talk about is the Jetpack boosting. Now, this doesn't sound like a big thing that you should worry about, but it really is because in the game, a lot of it is chasing the monster around. Now, if you guys already should know, if you guys double tap A, you can get a little boost forward, which is usually what I use to get close to the monster as a trapper. Now, when when using the jetpack boosting, you should know already also that you can put your face up against the wall and hold A, which will gradually push you up a wall, which is usually what the developers, well, if you are watching them, but Turtle Rock Studios talked about all the time when playing their own game. So just remember to always use it, because you can also use your jetpack boosting for getting out of the way of attacks, such as the Kraken's lightning strike. You should also know that you can get out of the Wraith's supernova dome that she puts up. So, but I'll get in more into that when I actually get to those monsters or into facing those monsters. The second thing is using your abilities a lot. Now, every character has, of course, abilities, and nothing is like reduced by ammunition, or having a magazine capacity or anything. You can use your abilities as much as possible. One thing that I like to do a lot as a trapper is if I'm running away from a monster, I love to put my traps behind me. So it'll slow him down as they're following me, and it'll keep harpooning him, keeping him away from me, just in case I need my team to come back, or stuff like that. Um, Again, you should always be using your abilities, popping your healing burst whenever you can, to keep your team healed up if you're Lazarus, because he can't heal you really. He can just revive you. So yeah, you can do that. There's always things that you have to use your ability, on. So another thing is tracking the monster. Now, tracking the monster is something that people, I don't know why, but they should know how to do, and I shouldn't have to tell people this, but I see a lot of times playing the game that people don't do it. Now, when you have Maggie on a team, she has Daisy. Now, Daisy will always find the monster. Always. Unless they're in water. Now, if they're in water, she will like be kind of confused. You'll see a question mark on her head, which I haven't seen yet playing as myself, but I've seen it on somebody else who is using Maggie. But most of the wildlife in the game, unless they're fighting a tyrant, is usually on land. So most of the time Maggie's always going to be the person to go with, because Daisy always finds the monster. That Daisy is an MVP of the team, and she's usually the best thing to go with. Now, Abe you're going to have a little bit of a problem with, and same thing with Griffin. If the monster's sneaking a lot or is not eating the wildlife you tag, you're going to have more of a problem. And again, check for the tracks. A lot of people usually miss the tracks, which is usually the easiest way to track the monster if they're not really, I guess, being stealthy at all. So always remember, people, to always check those tracks and always follow that Daisy. She is MVP, and you'll also know that when she's following or tracking the monster, she'll have a yellow symbol over her head that looks like a monster's footprint. If she is not tracking the monster, she'll have nothing, or if she's reviving somebody, she'll have a plus sign over her head. But usually she's tracking the monster, unless you're playing like rescue. the next tip is knowing when to run. Now, this is a tough one because not a lot of people know the breaking point of when to run. Now, I occasionally like to run when if the medic is down, which is usually me though. When the medic is down, usually you should start running. Um, Medic is usually the person you don't want going down, and if you do go down with the medic, unless the monster is at least 2 bars of health and lower, you should probably run. Um, there's probably no way you would win, um, unless the monster just ran away. I don't know why they would. Maybe they got low health at the time, or like something like that. But most of the time, if you lose your medic, if they're completely dead, you can't get them up. Usually, yeah, you want to run. Most of the time, I usually run when there's 2 people left. That's just me though. If because I'm medic, I'm like number 5 or something on a leaderboard for Lazarus. So what I do like to do is pop my healing burst and then run. I would teleport. I would not teleport. I'm sorry. I would go cloak and get out of there as quick as possible. And I would tell whatever teammate, if usually I play with Benny and George, if I was playing with them, I would tell them to run the opposite direction. So if one of us get caught, at least the other one's still alive to get people up. It's a good strategy because trust me, there's gonna be a lot of times when you go down and stuff goes down there, and it's usually not the place you want to be. So yeah. Now, when at stage 3, this one is a tricky thing because a lot of people like this get in this frantic mode when he gets into stage 3. You can win at stage 3. Now, most of the monster players that I know, the annoying ones that I don't know can't play or whatever, they like to hide the entire time until they get to stage 3. They can still be beat if they're not smart. If they're not smart or if you play smarter than they do. Now, most of the things you want to do is turtle up by the power relay at all costs because you finding them on their terms for like flying finding them is kind of hard because they have the advantage no matter where they go, um unless they're I don't know, like they usually always have the advantage unless you're in a cave for Kraken, he can't fly around, or I guess, yeah, I don't know. Because usually if you're in a tight space with the Wraith, Supernova's gonna wreck you. And if you're in a tight space with the Goliath, you're dead. He's going to dominate you. He's usually the beefiest one. He takes so much damage. And if he's laying into you with his abilities, you're gonna go down. That's just a given. And the chances of him stalking your body, especially since you're in a tight cave, is pretty high. So just don't try and do that. Try and turtle up by the power relay, plant mines down, plant, you know, what is it, harpoon traps in the right places, try and just turtle up as best as possible. And keep your medic in a safe place and keep him healed up and shielded up. If you have Hank, just keep him out of the way because you will need that person to get you guys up. Like, this is towards the end of the video when I like to talk about the what's and the what not to do. Now, when you're with the assault, this is a tricky one because a lot of people don't understand this. If you're the assault class, you need to be in the monster's face as much as possible, doing damage. What you not want to be doing is not doing damage, because of the simple fact that the assault class needs to be doing damage because the monster needs to know that there's damage being done to him, that he has to get out at some point. If your assault is not doing anything, the monster has no initiative to leave. There's nothing benefiting him from leaving. If you're staying in there getting smacked up and he's dominating you and there's 2 of you down and your assault's running away the entire time, you're not gonna get anything done. There's no damage being dealt to them, their armor's still up. They're gonna pound on you until they feel, okay, my armor's gone, I should leave. Assault classes that I usually see don't do anything usually when they're fighting. You need to be in the monster's face as much as possible, not worrying about taking damage or anything, because you have the personal shield, and if you're the one taking damage, the healer should be healing you. Unless Lazarus, then he'll revive you. But regardless, you should be in the monster's face as much as possible. You need to stay in there. If they don't have any sort of, like I said, initiative to leave, they're just gonna beat on you until you die. And of course, if you guys ever play RPGs, MMORPGs, or MOBAs, there has to be a tank person, and that assault class is basically that tank person. He needs to be soaking up the damage so that all your other classes can focus on what they're trying to do. Now, you can when you have the monster's attention, you can dodge left to right, which is great. You can dodge forward, dodge lightning strikes, moves that you feel you can get out of the way, like supernova. You should be jumping out of that supernova area in order to drag that monster out of there. But no one should be in that supernova area when they do pop that supernova. So yeah, that's always a thing. Assault. You want to stay in there. Another what and what not to do is Trapper. You don't want, when you first see the monster, to shoot them. That is a do not. Okay? Whenever you're facing a monster and you're close enough to throw the mobile arena, you should throw the mobile arena. There's been so many times when they go in with a gun and shoot the monster. The monster's not gonna stay there. They're gonna leave. That's why you have the mobile arena, to bait the monster into fighting you. I can't tell you how many times I've been playing with somebody, or I've been with somebody that shoots the monster and then pulls out the mobile arena. They're gonna get away by then. The monster's always gonna be faster than you. The first thing you'd want to do is throw that mobile arena, especially if you got the drop on him. If he doesn't know you're there, you're right next to him, he's eating, throw the mobile arena. If you tag him with a tracking dart, that's not gonna do jack squat. You're tagging him so that you can chase after him more. You've already found him. Just throw the mobile arena. I like to run around with the mobile arena in my hand at all times, usually. Unless there's wildlife problems, well then, I gotta take care of that. But most of the time, I like to be in there and doing damage and trapping them as much as possible. Now, as support, you want to always be like supporting the team with whatever you got, shielding or damage amplifier or just dealing damage as a bucket. You need to be in there dealing damage or supporting the team as much as possible. What you don't want to be doing is not shielding people. If the medic is getting focused on, which when I talk about nest mode I'll get a lot more into that, but if you ever known that AI goes for the medic first, always, it's in their programming, they're always going to go for the medic first. Medic will get squashed, which is why nest is the worst idea to play, especially for you, the hunters, because the medic will get focused down, and the monster is probably, the AI monster is probably the best monster I've ever seen in a game, because they will stay on you like hardcore, and their rock throws do not miss. So just so you guys know, better be shielding with the Hank or doing damage amp, so the assault can get in there and do damage to the monster and give him an initiative to leave you alone, so that way you can recuperate and your medic can do what you do. And medic, finally, this is one that is probably one of the biggest things. You guys have to be healing as the medic. I don't know how many times I've played with a Val and they're shooting the monster with Tranks and the sniper rifle, which is all dandy, but if I'm at red with my health and on the assault, I can't stay in there and do damage if you're not healing me. That's just a fact. In order for any of your teammates to do anything, you have to be healing them. The med gun is there to heal. You need to stay on that. Tranking the monster will help, but it doesn't help that much when they're in your face and you're getting pummeled. Now, I don't know what makes people want to do that, but you guys need to be healing. Please, if you're far away chasing the monster, you can trank all you want to slow that monster down to get to him. That is fine. You can even switch to your sniper, put a target on him, and then switch back to your medgun. But if when no one's getting healed, you will lose. It's a guaranteed fact. It's not going to happen if your medic is not there. And people from MMORPGs would know this the best. If you're in a battle, medic is number one because they're going to get the team buffed up with heals and buffed up with damage, amplifier, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, always know that the medic is crucial. So yeah, people, thank you for watching. That is going to be the first episode of it. I was just talking about the gist of it. And for next one, I will probably get into Lazarus because I am number 5 with him on leaderboards. So he is the one I know the most. And I'll try to get a lot of footage of him. So yes, people, thank you for watching. And I will catch you guys next time.